Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
This is America's Outdoor Talk program.
Are you ready to get rowdy?
Outdoors This Week with your host, Alex Langer. Alex Langer. We've got fishing.
Believe me, folks, I have been there, and the fishing has been tremendous.
Hiking.
Adios! Have a nice trip!
Camping.
This is a real adventure.
How do you know?
When you're an experienced woodsman like me, you get a feel for these things.
Oh, really?
Heck, we've even got kayaking.
I'm gonna show you kids the time of your life.
We've got all the info you need for a safe and fun day in the sun.
It's a darn good thing we found you when we did. There's something horrible roaming these woods.
And you've got Outdoors This Week. Outdoors This Week. And now, here's your host, Alex Langer.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a slightly different show than we usually have. We asked Tread Barta to join us. Tread is going to be talking about gun rights in the wake of the tragedy in Connecticut. Let me tell you a little about Tread first. Tread is a modern-day Ernest Hemingway. He's an outdoor sportsman, a blue water fisherman, a rancher, a hunter, television host and personality, and he also is a prolific author, and he holds world records in both light tackle, freshwater fishing, and big game hunting. Now, that's a mouthful, but Tread really is all those things, and among other things, Tread has become a friend of the program, and he is of the highest moral character, and he is the voice of the hardworking men and women across the world who enjoy outdoor adventure, sport fishing, wild game, and a love of the hunt. Tread attended the University of Colorado, where he raced alpine and Nordic skiing combined. He's a fierce competitor, and he even trained with the U.S. Biathlon Olympic team. And he is known for the Barta way, the hard way. And he's been seen on the Versus Network in the past with his hit television show, The Best and the Worst of Tread Barta. He took up longbow hunting and light tackle fishing, quickly becoming an expert in both. And today we're going to talk about the Second Amendment and gun rights. Usually we have an upbeat show, but not today, not in the light of what happened in Newtown, Connecticut. We're going to have more of a somber, serious show. And don't be disappointed, but I think that's what we have to do. And I couldn't think of anybody better than Tread Barta to be my guest on this program. And we still have all of our usual features. We still have Larry Whiteley. We have Ron Lindner. We have
Wade Bohr.
Wade, that's right. Good old Wade Bohr. Good old what's his name?
And Sammy Lee.
And Sammy Lee. Okay, so thank you, Lynn. Thank you for reminding me of all the usual suspects. And we'll be right back with a serious Outdoors This Week with Tread Barta, starting right after this.
We'll be back in a moment with more Outdoors This Week with Alex Langer.
Hi, folks. Ron Linder here for LinderMedia.com, the world's hottest website for... Okay, what do we got going on of controversy? Well, I haven't done a nature faker and nutcase update in a long time, and really we got one going here in Minnesota. It's a little different than usual, though, because the argument that's going on here has slim parts of viability. Gray wolf, that's the thing with the teeth, not the coyote, the big old wolf, has been delisted, and it has been open to hunting and trapping in the state of Minnesota. If you were to drive through Minneapolis, there are gigantic billboards. Stop the horrendous wolf hunt. So naturally, they all come out and they, the Wolves USA, Wolves Incorporated, Wolves Save the Wolf, whatever it is, da-da-da-da-da-da. So somebody smelled some money, so it popped out. If you send in a couple $100, they'll send you a plush wolf pup, and they'll defend you in the courts over here. And that's what's going to happen. Ultimately. Anyway, they started the wolf hunt, and they got a few of them. They didn't even get as many as they thought they would, and in certain one region out west here, they didn't even get any. And, of course, it brought out the groups. There's other groups. There's anti-trapping groups because they are allowing the wolf to be trapped. Now, there are a couple of things that have to be kept in mind here. Just to go out and shoot a wolf, that isn't my bag. if he came in through my backyard and I had my grandchildren over, it tastes a fast one, I'll tell you that. But that being said, to go out and do a full-fledged wolf hunt, I don't know if I'd go through that. The trappers, I guess they've got some market for the furs. I don't exactly know how that all is. But the fact remains that the initial hunt was not as big as they thought it was, although there are quite a few wolves. There are supposed to be 3,000 or more wolves. Now, some of the things that the people miss over here is these wolves have been known, when they're hungry, that if you've got your little poodle Fluffy running around on your backyard and old Wolfie gets a little hungry, or Fuzzy the cat, they'll make a meal of them if they have to. They'll even eat bunnies, little bunnies. They'll chase around. That's a lot of work, though. They prefer a calf in a barnyard, though. So that's the big problem here, especially with the farmers, and they're raising a calf, and one of these wolves comes around and he looks and here's this little thing stomping around in the backyard over there, and they nail him, and it's happened on relative frequency. And in the past, if anybody even shot one, it was, especially when it was on the list, it was real tough. Now it's changed to the point where they're doing it for quote-unquote sport. They're selling licenses, which is, but it's a big controversy, and of course, immediately 2 or 3 new groups, Wolves Forever, popped up. It does give you the flex. Send us up $5,000, and we'll be kind to wolves, and we'll send you a soft wolf pup. The whole thing gets missed is that there is wolves in civilized areas. They are dangerous animals. They're no messing around. Believe me, that ain't a joke when they say they get a hold of little Fluffy. They've done that more than once, have gotten a hold of Fluffy. So that could be really dangerous. They love taking this stuff into courts, and the whole thing starts all over again. The nature fakers and the nutcases on both sides in this particular instance show up in court. A lot of money is spent, and anything realistic is not being done. And what serves the outdoors here, I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, that's my last report on nature fakers, and boy, there's a bunch of them on the wolf side, and the trapping side, they make allegiances, and the other side comes back with some foolish stuff as well. That's my report for now anyway. Ron Lindner for Lindner's Angling Edge Television, which premieres this coming January, first week of January, on the Outdoor Channel. Watch us on the Outdoor Channel. We moved to the Outdoor Channel. All brand new 2013 shows, more exciting, more action than ever. Well, that's it for now. See you later, folks.
My Christmas present coming up on Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World.
Have you ever wanted to disappear into the woods? Have you ever wanted to tie your own flies, but never taken the time? Have you ever wanted to speak turkey? Then you belong at Bass Pro Shops. Every week, we offer free skills workshops to help you get started. See the store or go to BassPro.com for more information. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
You know, the older I get, the less I care about what I get for Christmas. It's become too commercialized anyway. I do love to see my grandkids' happy faces, and I enjoy the good food and time with family, too. This year, though, I've decided I want a Christmas present. I want each and every person who loves the outdoors to understand how important it is to pass on the outdoor traditions to others. Sadly, the participation in hunting and fishing is shrinking. It seems to me we do a lot for conservation. There are plenty of organizations out there preserving habitat for game and working at keeping waters clean, but my question is this: what good does it do unless we teach more people to use them and take care of them and enjoy them? Some organizations work at teaching outdoor skills, but it also takes each of us to do our part. Doing so is not just a gift you give others, it's also a gift you give yourself. Hey, and don't forget the real reason for the season either. I'm Larry Whiteley, and this is Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World.
Thank you, Larry. Lynn, we got to get Larry out of the studio. You know why?
Why?
Because Tread Barta is coming to town.
That is so awesome.
Let me tell you, folks, about Tread Barta. Tread Barta is the modern-day Ernest Hemingway. He's an outdoor sportsman. He's a blue water fisherman, a rancher, a hunter, television personality, and prolific author, holding world records in light tackle, saltwater fishing, and big game hunting. That on its own is an incredible statement. Tread is both believable and credible. He is of the highest moral character, and he's the voice of hardworking men and women around the world who enjoy adventure, sport fishing, wild game, and love of the hunt. Tread attended the University of Colorado, where he raced alpine and Nordic combined. He is a fierce competitor, and he won the Junior Biathlon Championships, and he trained with the U.S. Olympic Biathlon team. Tread's motto is the hard way, the Barta way. He took up longbow hunting and light tackle fishing and quickly became an expert at both. I wanted to talk to Tread today about the Second Amendment because there was the horrific shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, and it has the potential to bring scrutiny to the Second Amendment, and I would be remiss if I didn't get Tread's opinion on this. First of all, Tread, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, and thank you for the kind comments. Very nice of you, and I do appreciate it. How are you?
I'm well, Tread, and how are you?
Good, buddy.
How is your life going?
Good. As many of you know, I had severe blood cancer and paralyzed from my chest down, spinal infarction. I ski, I hunt, I fish. I'm about to jump out of an airplane. I scuba dive, and I'm trying to live a life worth living. I traded in my legs for a chair, and that's the way I roll. Let's get right to it, buddy.
All right, let's talk about the Newtown tragedy.
When I saw it on TV, as a man of 192 pounds of blue twisted steel, I cried.
Right.
And I sobbed, and here is a deranged man who did not believe in Christ or any other religion,
right,
who shot his mother in the face 4 times, who went to a school, killed 20 first graders. An aberration, a monster,
right,
and a person of high mental health. That in itself is a tragedy.
Yep.
Number 2, it is a tragedy that there was no one. I just watched the press release of LaPierre, if I'm saying his name correctly, of the president of the NRA.
Wayne LaPierre of the NRA.
Yeah, LaPierre, who I'm call him Wayne.
Yep.
And he said, the only person in his press release of about 10 minutes ago, it's too bad there wasn't a good guy with a gun,
right,
to take care of the bad guy with the gun.
Right.
Now, we have to be very careful in this tragedy as hunting people, as fishing people, as gun enthusiasts, as people who defend the Second Amendment right to bear arms, with the emotional forecast that is natural, that is, going around the country in the way of mourning. And because one believes in Second Amendment rights and the right to bear arms, that means he cries no less for the tragedy that happened.
Right.
But those guns did not kill those kids.
Right.
A person did.
Right.
And that person was deranged. And that person slipped through the traditional American fabric of network because his mother had guns available to him. His mother did not commit him and was about to. His mother didn't recognize him as a risk, and he fell through the system. So it's just as much as a mental health issue as it is something else. Now,
all right.
I know you're trying to butt in, but I won't let you.
I got to go.
You got to do a break.
I got to go to a break right now.
Hard break.
I promise you.
Stand by, everybody. I got more to say.
I promise you can come back and complete your thought uninterrupted by me or by anybody else. So stay with us, folks. We'll be right back with Tread Barta, and he'll finish his thought right after this.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Don't change that dial. Alex will be right back with more of Outdoors This Week after these messages.
Wow, hold on to that, and that's a good one. Since 1984, Tight Lines with Sammy Lee.
'Twas the week before Christmas. Hello, this is Sammy Lee. I'll tell you what I mean after this message.
Your attention, please.
The wait is almost over.
Smart baits are on their way.
Smart baits.
Color that changes with the temperature of the water. Color. The fishing world will never be the same. Get a sneak peek now at smartbaits.net. Color changes everything. Smart baits. Coming soon.
'Twas the week before Christmas when all through the South the weather was warming. Time to catch a largemouth. I should be out shopping for gifts with care, but instead I have hope a big bass will be there. The water's too cold for bass to bed, so I'll just have to catch them fishing slowly instead. While Mama's at the house wrapping gifts with class, I'm on the lake, fishing for big bass. When up on the shore arose such a clatter, I ran to the bank to see what's the matter. Away from my weed line that'd been producing just fine, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a sleigh pulled by 8 big white-tailed reindeer. I have to admit I was a little confused. St. Nick was here early, which left me bemused. Turns out old St. Nick's a good fisherman at heart. Catches bass to unwind, he's done so from the start. So back to the weed line we drove to my spot, where he sat at my side, all jolly and fat. We had quite a day with cast after cast. It passed way too fast. I wished it would have lasted. I came to find out old St. Nick's a good stick. When it comes to cold weather, he knows every trick. I wanted to beat him, but then I thought twice. If I do that today, it might not be too nice. So catch him we did all day till dark. Till he said he must go, it's been quite a lark. You know, there's still work to be done before my big night. Back to my 8 deer, I now must take flight. Back to the elves before they start to fight. A delay in getting ready just wouldn't be right. So left me he did, he took to the sky. He and his reindeer to the north they did fly. And he whistled and shouted and called them by name. But since he's been fishing, their names weren't the same. Now Rayburn, on Martin, on Falcon and Fork, on Pickwick, on Sardis, on Meade and Norfolk. To the end of the dam, to the top of the trees. Now dash away, please. But as they flew off, I did hear him call back, Merry Christmas to you, and sharp hooks to all tonight. Folks, only a few more days till St. Nick's here, so get ready. I'm Sammy Lee, and until next time, Tight Lines.
Tight Lines, brought to you by HuntMate, the best hunting app for your iPhone. By UFP, America's leading maker of brake systems for boat trailers. And by Smart Baits, color changes everything.
That was Sammy Lee, a 6-foot, 6-inch large elf.
It's a big elf.
It is a big elf. You got to be a big elf to be the master of ceremonies at the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, speaking of big elves, we have Tread Barta with us, who was rudely interrupted by this last break, was in the middle of telling us his opinion on the Second Amendment and the individual right to possess firearms, unconnected to a militia, for traditional lawful purposes such as self-defense within the home. And Tread, I'm sorry we interrupted you for that.
Not at all. I'm sorry I'm not letting you and Lynn talk, but I also think you called me for my opinion. Where I was discussing the fact that we need not to get confused as Americans and great sportsmen. We are clouded by this terrible shooting. We are looking for answers. I do not personally like the AR-15 70-round clip military version of the AR platform that was designed to kill people in the field hunting. I don't see its need. But the truth of the matter is that it's not a lot different than a Remington 30-06 that is a semi-automatic with a big clip either. Right. We have to, after this morning as an American people, understand that when you take Christ out of church or a belief of religion out of church, when you take it out of schools, when you don't allow the American flag to be flown, when you can't say Merry Christmas because it is Merry Christmas, but you have to say Happy Holidays because you're afraid that you might offend a Jewish person, an atheist, a Buddhist, or somebody from the Far East. When you take the ability to have the creche down of baby Jesus, of what Christmas is all about, and God's Son giving his life for us, when you take all of that out, you end up with a people and a group of people that don't know and don't have any values. And when you add on top of that video games of people killing children on that can come into your home, and violent games and violent movies, and no family time, and you end up with a society where you're going to have these short circuits.
Right.
Now, what do I want? I think all schools should have armed guards. I think that all people in school, teachers, who are qualified, who go to a school to specifically learn firearms and have engagement courses, should be armed.
You're for arming teachers?
Absolutely, unequivocally, non-negotiably.
How would that work? Seriously.
Works that if you have a gym teacher that goes ahead, or a coach, for example, that goes ahead and goes to a specific school, who's firearm trained, who goes to a SWAT school, got to take a couple weeks off, or had previous military training, who's proven to be stable and honorable and good, you put a concealed weapon on him, and he carries it all the time while at school. That's what we have.
They have this in Israel, don't they?
They have this where?
In Israel.
To my knowledge, they do have it in Israel. There's very little of this going on in Israel. By the way, this can happen anywhere. I mean, it's unequivocally that it can happen anywhere. Sorry for that phone ringing in the background.
That's all right, Trey. I'm used to it.
But on the flip side of it, if we do not have that, a good guy with a gun is the only person who's going to stop a bad guy with the gun.
Correct.
And you can take your karate and your kicks and your flips. It is no match for a gun.
I agree.
And I am proud NRA member, but I carry a concealed weapon on my wheelchair. I have guns in my house that are loaded in different places. And if you come to my house to violate my family, to rape my wife, to steal from me on my private property, you're going to end up dead. Period.
Okay.
And that is the right of private property and the basis of this country. Now, the NRA has to bend.
Right.
And also there's going to be tremendous pressure on the AR-type platform of attack weapons.
Yep.
But I'm telling you this, it has nothing to do with Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms. It has a lot to do with our society as a whole, and that is, I think I have expressed my feelings. What do you and Lynn think?
I think you're right. How can I disagree with you? What is the AR platform?
Let's talk about a genetic AR platform. Okay. Let's just talk about, there are guns that have been developed by our military and our different armed services over 100 years of battle that are specifically designed for our military to kill people.
Yep.
The gun industry has taken that platform and its automatic, say it again, automatic platform, made it semi-automatic, and it has been very popular not only with the American sportsmen, but also with many different shooting venues.
Right.
How to protect yourself, shooting, fast shooting platforms, target platforms, and I see no problem with their use.
Okay.
I don't understand how you got to go. I never understood. I'm against technology in the field when you go hunting,
right,
that you need $400,000 worth of stuff to go hunting, and hearing magnification devices and food on the ground and cameras in the woods and ARs, military-type programs and 70-shot clips and shooting airplanes out of helicopters and scopes that talk to you and calculate your this and that and whatever.
We got to take a break, but I promise we'll come right back, all right?
Len, stop interrupting me.
Len, you heard him. Stop it.
More of America's favorite outdoor talk program, Outdoors This Week, after these messages.
It's an old saying in flying, there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots. If I had to guess, I'd say this saying had its origins in Alaska. In this state, bush pilots fly little airplanes into often unimproved strips in some of the worst weather. I'm Wade Bourne, and this is Wired to Hunt Radio. In a minute, Joe Arterburn joins us to tell a story about an airplane ride he'll never forget.
Stay tuned for more Wired to Hunt Radio.
With the mission to promote, protect, and preserve hunting in the shooting sports, the National Shooting Sports Foundation wants to help you better enjoy your sports. Take a lesson from champion pistol shooter Doug Koenig. Fine-tune your shotgun skills with top instructor Gil Ash, or learn how to sight in your rifle in just 2 shots. You'll find all the information you need to shoot better at nssf.org/videos. Watch and learn with NSSF at nssf.org/videos. Reliable, durable, and fun to shoot are just a few of the ways people describe their experiences with the M&P Pistol Series from Smith & Wesson. Available in multiple calibers and frame sizes, these lightweight, high-strength polymer pistols are fine-tuned machines both inside and out, designed to meet the needs of law enforcement pros and recreational shooters alike. The M&P Series has you covered no matter your flavor. To learn more about the M&P Pistol Series, visit www.smith-wesson.com.
This is Wired to Hunt Radio.
Hunting in Alaska is high adventure, and a big part of the thrills can come from flying into camp and back out. A while back, Joe Arterburn of Cabela's had a real white-knuckle experience flying out of a remote camp on Alaska's Kodiak Island. Joe and his friends had been hunting Sitka black-tailed deer. When it was time to leave, they thought the winds were too high to be picked up, but the planes came in anyway, and here's what happened next.
It was really rough. They shot up real high, got up above the worst of the turbulence. We flew in, of course, then you had to come back down into the turbulence. We landed, skidded pretty hard, and landed, got out of our plane. The smaller plane was coming behind us. They landed, got out, and those guys were almost white, shaking, kind of were talking to them. And the guy, the hunter who was sitting in the co-pilot seat said, once we landed, that pilot said, the next time a plane comes to pick you up in weather conditions like this, don't get on the plane. It was one of those deals where even he knew that we were pushing the envelope on that, but we got home safely. Those guys are amazing pilots. They're nuts, but they're amazing pilots, so we got home.
I can testify that Alaskan bush pilots are amazing. I've flown with these guys a few times myself, and as a former Air Force pilot, I know firsthand that they know their stuff. And that's today's Wired to Hunt Radio. I'm Wade Bourne saying thanks for listening, and get outside.
Thanks, Wade. And we have with us Tread Barta today, and we call Tread to get his opinion on the Second Amendment and the tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut.
It is a tragedy that rocks everybody. It should rock Republicans, Democrats, Americans, people who are anti-gun, people who are for gun, the NRA. It should rock everyone. The discussion we got to be careful of is that when you have a discussion of Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms, that doesn't mean you didn't cry. It doesn't mean you didn't feel sorrow for somebody losing their 6-year-old child.
Of course not. Nobody wants to see kids dead.
But, we protect our embassies, we protect our ships, we protect our distilleries, we protect our gas plants. We have billions and trillions of dollars of waste in America in every aspect that you look. Why don't we take some of our reservists? Why don't we take some of our Marines? Why don't we take some of the people put in every single place? Protecting camels in Pakistan or some ridiculous thing. And why don't we bring them and put them in every school in America?
That's the first reasonable suggestion I've heard.
Well, we're paying for them anyway, aren't we?
Coming out of this tragedy.
But we live. What? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you get a carry permit, you're supposed to have been investigated extremely carefully, not only by the local authorities but the FBI.
Right.
You make sure that if you have speeding tickets that are ridiculous, you don't get a carry permit.
Right.
If you have had any domestic violence, you don't get it. If you've been discharged from the military, The net is that you are scrutinized.
Right.
what would have happened if Tread Barta, with a carry permit, was visiting in my wheelchair on the day that man came through?
You would have stopped him, right?
Well, he would have faced a Model 30 Glock 45 ACP with 11 rounds in it, and he would have had a problem because I would have obviously been willing to give my life for another. And I think that if you have a legal carry permit, you should be allowed to carry in a school. I go to church in Colorado with an exposed pistol. Why? Because they have had instances where people come into church and kill everybody. So the minister looks a little funny, and but people know that I'm stable, that I'm courageous, that I'm a great American, that I have had background checks, that I'm qualified to have this pistol. And they know that if my church is violated while I'm there, I will give my life to protect those who are innocent. I think it's an American doctrine.
I hear you. How is your health, Tread?
Health is good.
Not to
Just
change
got
the
a
subject.
great blood test back. I'm cancer-free.
Congratulations. Your cancer, that's a reason to celebrate right there.
There it is.
Congratulations.
It's a reason to celebrate Christmas, and, it's a reason. I know there's a lot of negative stuff on America today and a lot of negative stuff in the stock market, but let me just tell everybody who's listening, we are a country of greatness, of wondrous development, of great opportunity. The bigotry of our life has left. We have so much to look forward to. We have the right to bear arms. We have the right to own property. There still is the tremendous opportunity to be your own person, to follow your own heart, and it is better than any place else in the world. And this Christmas, if you're a Christian, let's enjoy the presents, but understand this is Jesus' day.
Amen.
And let's enjoy that there's something bigger and greater than ourselves.
Amen.
And what a glorious time of year, Christmas.
Would you please send our best Christmas wishes to your lovely wife, Annie?
I'll do it.
And you too.
Yep.
Have a wonderful Christmas.
Let me say one more thing.
What's that?
Everybody, you are privileged to have Lynn and everybody here to have a station like this that allows different points of view and is on your benefit, is in your corner for great sporting life. And everybody, God bless America. And you know what? Merry Christmas from Tread Barta.
And Merry Christmas to you, Tread Barta, from the entire Outdoors This Week family, all right?
Thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks, buddy. We'll be back next time on Outdoors This Week. I hope it'll be after we go over the fiscal cliff, so I'm not sure how we'll be looking, but we'll be back anyway. And have a great Christmas, everybody.
Outdoors This Week with Alex Langer.